Who's got bad knees out there? Who's got maybe a torn ACL? Common, often serious for athletes is an injury to a knee ligament that's called the ACL. Researchers at McGill University and the MUHC are working on a new tool aimed at predicting and preventing ACL knee injuries. Now, I'm interested in this for a couple of reasons. One, I have torn an ACL in my life over the years. I feel both my knees are shot, but that's a whole other story. The project uses technology already in people's hands, and it could change how injuries are identified before they even happen. And of course, this all at a time where many people are considering maybe working out for the first time in a while. It's January, New Year's resolutions, where people head to the gym and start doing activities maybe they've put on the shelf for a while. Let's head to Dr. Paul Martineau. He's an orthopedic surgeon at the MUHC. Dr. Martineau, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
First things first, let's talk about the ACL. Man, I think I've done so much damage to my ACL and everything over the years, and whether it's playing team sports and such. Let's talk about that. Let's talk a little bit about those devastating knee injuries.
So, when you tear your ACL, it really takes you out of sport for quite a while, as you know, and it leads to surgery, and the rehab is about a year long, So I'm in the clinic now at the Shriners Hospital, and there's a whole bunch of little athletes here who've torn their knee. It's taken them out of sports. It's taken them a year to recover from this. They want to go back. They're scared of going back. They don't want to get re-injured. It's like almost an epidemic. It used to be only, pro athletes who would get this type of injury, and now we see it a lot more in everyday athletes and a lot more in younger and younger athletes. So it's really quite a devastating injury. So we're trying to prevent them needing me.
Why is it increasing? I mean, I find that's interesting in and of itself.
Yeah.
Why are we seeing more young people with these injuries?
So about 7 times more in women than men now, because women are participating in sports at the same level as men are, and that's been quite problematic in a sense. And then super specialization, our kids are getting into sports at a very young age, and then very rapidly they're training almost like pro athletes starting at high school. And you're not finished growing, your body's not what it is going to be at the end, and sometimes it's a little much for them. So there's a big spike in injury in those athletes.
What would be your message then? I don't know, to parents, to those because we all know that physical activity is really important. Like setting up your life where you're going to remain active is really important. But I guess
Sure.
you must be also looking at people who are just going far too hard too early in life.
Somewhat, but some of these people, they're unlucky. Some of these people are predisposed. There's entire families they've operated on. So what we're really trying to do is, I've done 2,500 ACL reconstructions in my life, and I'm trying to have people avoid that. And there are simple exercises that exist, and if you do them, you have 50% less chance of tearing your ACL. And these have existed for a while. It's just coaches, players, no one wants to do them. So the app, we designed it with an AI model. You just need to jump in front of it, and it says, you would benefit from these exercises. Please do them. You'll decrease your risk of injury by 50%. And another athlete may move in a way that's perfectly safe and doesn't need to do them. So we're kind of using it to figure out who and when they would need this. And it's in your pocket. It's free. It's on your phone. You can do it anytime you want.
So tell me about this app. Tell us what it's called, how I get it, and then let's go through what this app is doing.
Okay, so it's called Hurt Blocker, and it's on the App Store, whether you have Android or iOS, and we've been developing this for about 10 years. I've been doing this with my research team, and we've validated it on, 10 years of varsity athletes at the McGill. So, the model is trained to pick up excellent movements, and then even in that group, you find some people who are high risk, and now we've made it that the phones have made it that anyone can have access to this, so we've given it to everyone so they can check their kids, or if you coach your high school soccer team, you could do it on the whole team. And that's the plan, is to put me out of business and get these people to avoid these major injuries.
So on the app, how does it work? You have to set up the camera on your phone for this.
Yeah, so the camera already works, so we had to wait a long time for the phones to have good enough cameras to do this, and for the processors to be strong enough. But with cloud computing, that's not a problem anymore. So now basically anyone with their app, they set up in front, you'll see the athlete in front of your camera or your kid, and when their skeleton goes green, you make them jump. It's very, very simple, and within a couple of seconds, it comes out with a flag that says green light or red light. If you're green light, go on with your life. But, if you play 6 soccer games between Friday and Monday, you may go from green light to red light. And if you're red light, you can do a series of exercises that are on the app or that a physiotherapist or athletic therapist near your home can help you with if you so choose. But 50% risk reduction is very big for simple exercises,
Yeah, and it does seem at times, Dr. Martineau, that these types of injuries could happen at any time. An awkward movement. I've seen it, just playing softball over the summer. I've seen teammates just in the weirdest scenario, boom, where they could just happen at any time. So prevention, I think,
often
is
a very typical movement that they've done a million times before, and that time it didn't work. So it's really a big problem. And as you stated, a lot of people are getting into sports. We talked about the younger athletes, but the older athletes, we do sports longer than the previous generation. Mm-hmm. People are very active later in life, so it could be beneficial for them as well, for sure. But the main goal was to really get this epidemic of young athletes and female athletes, avoiding them having to go under the knife,
Yeah, we're with Dr. Paul Martineau, an orthopedic surgeon over at the MUHC, the McGill University Health Centre. Let's talk a little bit more, Dr. Martineau, about preventing injuries for those who maybe, they've been a bit of a couch potato, and maybe a New Year's resolution for them is, okay, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to join a sports team. I'm going to become more active. What should be top of mind for those people to prevent injuries, especially if their body is not used to the types of workouts or activities they're planning on doing?
Sure. Well, there's different injuries for different age groups. Like we talked about the ACL being a devastating injury in the younger athletes. The rest of us who are a little bit older, we're at risk of, tearing our Achilles or hurting our rotator cuff. And those are things that really, for what you're describing, people need to do warm-ups. Everyone wants to jump into pickleball. They get excited. There's no warm-up. You used to be an athlete. You pick up the skill very quickly, and then all of a sudden you're counting points and pushing a little hard. Warming up and progressively getting into sports is probably the best that the older athletes can do,
Well, is that include stretching? How important is stretching?
Yeah, for sure. Stretching your Achilles, your shoulder, pretty much everything.
And when it comes to stretching, how long should I be spending doing that stuff? How long should a warm-up be?
Yeah, you should have a real warm-up before every time you sort of hit the ice or hit the pickleball court. And, and that warm-up, for people who are preventing ACL injuries, that's 22 minutes, those specific exercises. And someone who's doing a tearing his Achilles before pickleball, well, you should probably spend a good 15 minutes doing that as well.
Now I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, but it was like 20 years ago probably. Yeah. I was on a ski hill, and I maybe the third time I'd gone skiing, and I blew out my knee. Yeah. And I have not gone skiing since. I'm just afraid of that injury happening again. And I know there are a lot of people that are just like, you know what, it happened to me, I never want it to happen again, and then they stop doing that activity. What would you say? What would you say to people like me that don't do these activities anymore because they're fearful of injuries?
Well, one is, we want to be active. So, if you're an older adult and you decide not to do something, well, we're not keeping you as active as you need to be to keep your health up. But then if you think about that type of situation in a younger athlete, so a 16-year-old kid that decides they're not doing sports anymore, their life will change, and they'll wind up with a pretty unhealthy lifestyle pretty quickly. So, you and I maybe can decide not to go skiing and go to the gym instead, but a 16-year-old hockey player who all of a sudden can't do any sports anymore, it's really quite a different life they're heading to,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, well, would you tell them, hey, go back to the ski hill?
I tell people to go back, get into shape, do simple exercises to stretch and prevent injuries, simple exercises to prevent hurting your ACL, and then, get back into activity.
How important is building up muscle? Like when I've done physio and that kind of thing, a lot of the exercises have focused on building up muscle strength in the joints where I've had those previous injuries.
So the exercises that prevent specifically ACL injuries have to do with muscle, but more what we call neuromuscular coordination, which means that your muscles actually work and fire in a certain way that prevents your body from going into, bad or unsafe positions. So it's almost more the muscles helping you with coordination, almost standing on one leg type of work, or squatting on one leg are the type of things you'd have to do,
Gotcha. Dr. Martineau, listen, I have to leave it there. I'll tell our listeners about the app one more time. Hurt Blocker, all one word with a B. And just one thing on the App Store, like on the Apple App Store, when I searched for Hurt Blocker, it actually said, didn't you mean Hurt Locker? And it showed me all of these. So just for everyone, make sure you tap on that little notice at the top of the page where it says, no, I really want to see Hurt Blocker and not Hurt Locker.
That's nice of you, because we're at several thousand downloads, but that autocorrect from the App Store hasn't disappeared yet, and it still thinks you're looking up the movie and not looking up Hurt Blocker. So click the did you mean Hurt Blocker, all one word. Thank you.
And of course, it's a great movie too, Hurt Locker. So all right, Dr. Martineau, be well. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Dr. Paul Martineau from the MUHC. When we return, Trudeau Airport. Is it a good airport or a bad airport? I'll get your take next.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years.
And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.